Bow. La-ba-ba-ba-dow, ladies and gentlemen, and everything in between. Welcome back to another episode of Aid Thompson and Other Disappointments, people. If you've been enjoying the paper reviews, if you found me on Twitter, TikTok, Blue Sky, or whatever, this is what I do. I do paper reviews and podcasts, and you are very welcome here, people. It's another episode of your favorite podcaster's favorite podcast. Is sometimes how I like to brand this show. You know, it's quite popular with some people in TV land and radio. They've never given me a leg up. They've never helped me to get some, paid work or a contract with one of the big podcaster people. But that's okay. It's fine. It's all right. I'm not gonna name and shame them, so I'm not. Partly because they may still do that. They may have literally been writing a text to, I don't know, Alistair Campbell, James O'Brien, the head of Global, or someone. They were literally just about to say, "Oh, you should check out this Aid Thompson guy. Like, he's been going for a while. It's really funny stuff." Like, and then they hear this, they're like, "Oh, well, fuck you then." But no, I'm not going to name names. I'm not going to dob anyone in for liking this show, for secretly being a fan of the podcast, because I don't want to cause them any problems, some of the stuff that we've said on this podcast over the last couple of years could reasonably cause them issues then, Like, imagine if you are a left-leaning TV personality and then the Daily Mail go in on you, The Express go in hard on you, dig out the comments that you've left a bit. Oh, this guy says that you love his stuff. That's what he says. And then they dig out a bit, like a little 3-minute segment that we've done on some barely listened to episode of the podcast about how Kate Middleton doesn't really have cancer and the king doesn't have cancer, and all of that weird, actually quite nutty stuff. He says that you really love his stuff. So no, I'm not going to name and shame. But it is, I promise you, it is actually quite popular with some names in TV land, bizarrely. So if you're listening to this, if that's one of you, like, what's up? How you doing? All right? Good stuff. Thank you for continuing to listen. Anyway, yes, welcome back to your favorite podcaster's favorite podcast. Home to the people of the booge, the cult that I'm building on Patreon, my binfluencer cult. That's slightly different to an influencer. For any newbies who've not heard the description before, the explanation. Influencers are people who live, breathe, shit and piss Instagram. Aren't they? They're the people who take pictures of their food. They apply their makeup. They get a good color-coordinated dress on. They stand in front of a, amazing skyline, and they tell you to live your best life, don't they? They're influencing you. They're inspiring you. They're influencers. We do not do that on this show. We do put out content. Hopefully it's something that you're interested in. But it's all about the muck. It's not about living your best life. It's about reflecting back to you the muck of modern life, of existence, the dirt, the hopelessness. The binfluencer cult is what we're bringing, what we're building here. Anyway, how are you guys doing? What's going on? How are you getting through the week so far? Do you have a beverage or a doobie on the go to take you through the next 45 minutes to an hour of yours truly talking abject shits about life, love, the universe, and all things awful once more? If you have got a drink on the go, you got your doobie freshly rolled, then I'll begin. I will begin with this week's veritable midweek sermon is really, is what it is, isn't it? I suppose I should say what's up to the newer Patreons. Shouldn't I? What's up to Alex French and Jim Speak, both of whom recently upgraded to the £5 tier, and also to Teresa Linder, has recently joined the Patreon on the £5 tier. So what's up, guys? Hope you're doing well. More on the Patreon and indeed how you can join my cult a little bit later, I suppose, or indeed like the YouTube channel membership. But for now, let's actually get into some substance, shall we? What are we going to talk about, guys? What is on your mind, grapes? I suppose we can't really avoid talking about Epstein tonight, can we? The latest news that has developed, that has emerged at time of recording, Tuesday night, is that Ghislaine Maxwell has been approached by US Attorney General, Justice Department representatives. She's been asked if she would be willing to speak to prosecutors, which is a weird development. I mean, we've spoken a couple of times on the podcast now about how obvious it is what is actually or what has actually taken place. Like, there are court documents, there's transcripts, there's testimony. All of it backs up this theory. It's not just some insane guy in his shed with a red cap on and a microphone talking nonsense. I promise you what I'm about to say. Firstly, it's not revelatory. Like, it's all already out there if you want to go and find it. But second, it just adds up. It is the most plausible narrative, right? Is that Jeffrey Epstein was a well-connected, pretty bad dude who was into immense money laundering, but also in a sort of honeypot blackmail operation. And that operation was almost certainly powered by, or at least connected to, Mossad in Israel and the American intelligence services, like the CIA. Like, that is the most plausible explanation for what he was up to and for how he ended up with that sweetheart deal in Florida when he got busted before. You know, he was basically allowed to walk. Something like house arrest, but still allowed to move and go freely like nobody else would be if they were charged and convicted of that kind of offence. Procuring underage prostitutes. So you got a cushy sweetheart deal. The locals around the island knew what they were up to, and they used to refer to it as Paedophile Island. The people who stayed there and the agents that raided it and the New York townhouse and the place in Florida, all of them had cameras set up in every room. Like, the whole thing just it's so obvious that it was a blackmail, like, honeypot operation. Almost certainly. Like, the fact that he got off so lightly suggests that the US was in on it. The US government, as is, already said way ahead of time that there were very high-profile individuals named, implicated, filmed. And it's only over like the last month that they've completely U-turned on that, where they're like, "Oh, I don't think there is any footage. Yeah, no, there's no names whatsoever, no flight logs, no evidence, nothing." Which suggests that either Trump is implicated or that the repercussions for actually coming clean and exposing whoever is implicated are so immense, so bad, that it is just not, well, like, no president would ever want to be responsible for shining a light on what was going on the people who are implicated, or indeed revealing that some of those people might still be compromised by the CIA. Like, they might still be using those assets, those compromised assets. And so it would really upend the apple cart if they just suddenly, like, yeah, we compromised this world leader about 7 years ago. We're still blackmailing him at the moment. Oh, but in the interest of transparency, yes, we will tell you. So, I don't know. It seems to me like the most plausible situation is that he was running the honeypot thing, the blackmail scheme, and unfortunately, one of the people that he sought to compromise was one of the most haphazard and clumsy cunts you could ever imagine, in the form of Prince Andrew. right? So unfortunately, because of him, the whole thing kind of blew up. You know, it might have happened regardless. It might have happened if Prince Andrew had never been involved. Bill Gates, Alan Dershowitz were both suggested. I'm not alleging anything. Fuck that. You know, even if I did get a TV name to big me up and get 5,000 more subscribers, what good would that be if I just got sued into oblivion? But there's a lot of talk about, you know, the Clintons. Tony Blair was mentioned at one point. So it's possible this, you know, Virginia Giuffre may have tabled other allegations about other people or some of her friends who were also there at the same time, may have done it, may have blown up anyway. But anyway, it seems, you know, seems obvious to me and most reasonable people that that was the scheme. That is what was happening. And Trump rode into power on the back of conspiracy theory after conspiracy theory, and he saw it as a quick way to make political capital. Oh, I totally released the Epstein list, and now obviously it's come back to bite him in the bum. Hasn't it? He's created a monster. MAGA are not budging. They demand answers. So he has now, as of this evening, directed the Justice Department to ask Ghislaine Maxwell if she would be willing to speak with the prosecution. And that's a tricky one, because I'm sure that she would be willing to speak to the prosecution if it meant that she was going to get some time shaved off of her sentence, right? You know, she's got like a 20-year stretch for child trafficking that they now say there's no evidence of. That nobody else was involved. But she's serving 20 years for it. You know, and we thought Nigel Farage's fantasy nightmares were bad. Imagine ending up in Rikers Island for 2 decades based on the Justice Department's totally imagined conspiracy theory that you and your boyfriend trafficked a load of non-existent imagined teenagers. Imagine that shit. So I think she would be willing and interested to speak to the prosecution, to maybe shine a light on what was really going on there and some of the names that may or may not have been involved. I'm sure she remembered, like, who wrote in the book for Trump, like this big, you know, Dear Jeffrey, happy birthday from your old pal Trump. A secret is a wonderful thing. Trump says he didn't write it. Ghislaine could probably clear that up, right? Given they say that she collated all the messages for that leather-bound birthday book, right? She could clarify that for everybody. So she gets time off the sentence. The Justice Department gets a bit of clarification, but you got to remember, if it is like a honeypot operation being run by the CIA and Mossad, what are they going to do when they see her blabbing? When they see her just singing like a bird in the morning, guys. When they see her working out the fine details to publish her tell-all memoir with Penguin. Like, Mossad aren't gonna accept that. Are they? Mossad don't want the world to know all of the weird, nefarious, dark arts, Machiavellian shit that they've been up to. The CIA don't want her blabbing about who may or may not have been compromised this entire time and what weird, fucked up decisions they may have taken off the back of having been ostensibly compromised. You know, the CIA and Mossad aren't going to stab. They've killed people for way less. Like, the CIA and Mossad would shoot you and your whole family if you so much as slightly shimmied in the way of one of their cocaine planes. Their fucking heroin planes that they used to flood Los Angeles with dodgy crack and drugs to fund the war that Congress wouldn't give. That you can read up on all this stuff. It's absolutely fucking wild. So, yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, a lot of people would say, oh, I reckon she'll talk. You know, she'll try and cut herself a deal. But then I've got a feeling like her lawyer will pull her to the side and just be like, before you start talking, I'd just like to show you a short video, if I can, Ghislaine. And she'll be like, oh, okay, sure. What is it? What am I watching? And it'll just be like a 10-second snippet of outside of Jeffrey's cell. And then it goes black, right? Because they turned the cameras off for 3 minutes. And then I'll just, let her sit there, watch that. She'll be like, what is this? I'll be like, just watch. Just watch. And then it'll come back on again. 3 minutes later, I'll be like, any questions? Any questions, Ghislaine? Any questions at all, Ms. Maxwell? Is anything unclear? Are you understanding what I'm saying here? She'll be like, actually, I don't know. I feel a bit, feeling a bit Kate Middleton all of a sudden. A little bit mute. Don't feel like talking. No. So, yeah, I don't see it. I don't think it's going to happen. As much as we would all love her to go into some sort of, to give her statement, give her testimony, and then to immediately go into witness protection would be fine, I think. But then, even as I'm saying that, I'm like, would it be fine? Should that be fine? When she played such a role in procuring these girls, hand-delivering them to this fucking super paedophile. So that then they would go on to be exposed. Fuck it, she even abused them herself. It's on record. So should she get, another sweetheart deal out of this? I don't know. Is it worth us knowing, the whole shebang to uncover the truth of the entire thing? To have to pay the cost for that with a free Ghislaine Maxwell? Would you take that bargain? Knowing what a role she played in the whole scheme. Would you, just to fucking know the truth, would you unlock those handcuffs? I mean, here's a wild thought for you. Wild conspiracy thought while we're on loosely on the subject of conspiracy theories. MAGA, Trump, Epstein. I was thinking yesterday, while I was mowing the lawn, I was like, if he was a Mossad agent, a CIA agent, and if he was running a honeypot scheme, which I personally think most reasonable, politically informed people, I can't stress this enough, most sensible people think that that's exactly what he was up to, right? If it was for the CIA and for Mossad, like a joint operation, blackmailing people, feeding that information up to Washington, over to Tel Aviv, if that's what he was up to, and he got caught, and he ended up in that New York federal jail, would the CIA, would Mossad, would the American government, given how fucking sensitive this obviously is for them, would they be tempted to just fake his death? I know how that sounds. I know I sound absolutely fucking nutty now, but it's not that far-fetched, is it? If you think of him as an asset, as somebody who has an immeasurable amount of information and blackmail material on all of these people, if you need to get him out of legal eyes and the risk of him going on the stand and testimony and attracting other court cases and, God knows what might come out in those, if that's the risk, but he's on your side, he's connected to the intelligence agencies, wouldn't it be tempting? Wouldn't it be tempting to just go, all right, we'll cut off the cameras for 3 minutes, you usher him out, just get him the fuck out of here. Just I don't care where you put him, just propel him to South America and, he could go work in an outpost or manage a similar thing down there. It's not beyond the realms of possibility, is it? Is all I'm saying. So, yes. Anyway, it's gone a bit weird, isn't it, tonight? Am I actually suggesting that Jeffrey Epstein, that his death may have been faked? Maybe. I don't know. I'm so long in the tooth now. I honestly would not put any of that shit past the US government, the UK government, Mossad, whoever. But the only reason that I don't think stuff like that happens, that is that nefarious, is every other project that the state ever tried to embark upon, whether it's fucking HS2 or the wall, we're gonna build the wall, whatever it is, Whatever the project the state tries to do, they always fuck it up. So something of that magnitude, with the amount of people that would need to be involved, the cover-up and maintaining the cover-up is just, it's like you can't even build a fucking train line. How on earth would you run a conspiracy that deep? What else has been happening? People, listeners, viewers, people of the booge. Ozzy Osbourne has just died. Notifications just come up, as I say, Tuesday night, time of recording. It's just been announced on Sky News. Ozzy Osbourne, man. What a fucking legend. And how weird is it that he was literally on stage? It was like the farewell concert, wasn't it? Like about a week ago or something? I don't know, like he didn't look well, like he didn't look great, but that's quite a quick, to be on stage for, I guess it would have been like an hour and a half, 2 hours, and then like a week later, it's like you're gone. I don't know, it's just something weird about that, isn't there? Bit eerie. Although, I did actually legitimately go searching the other week I was like, have there ever been any YouTubers who have recorded a video ahead of time, ahead of their suicide, and then scheduled it? So it's like, then they kill themselves and then the video goes like it's so ghoulish and macabre. So, I mean, once you search out that sort of content, then frankly, the idea that Ozzy may have just done a gig a few days before he died, it's not that weird, is it? It sort of pales into the significance of that. So yeah, Ozzy Osbourne is no longer with us. It's weird, isn't it, to look at some of those rock and roll, or I guess it's veering into metal, isn't it, with Black Sabbath? Those old school, like 70s greats, who were, I don't really know much about Sabbath, but I know like Led Zeppelin, the Rolling Stones, a lot of them banging kids. A lot of them were fucking bang up for the kid fucking. I promise you, like if you've not gone and read the stuff that Led Zeppelin got up to, if you're not familiar with Bill Wyman, was it Bill Wyman was like married to like an 18-year-old when he was like 44? Or was it like, I think, did he meet her when he was, I hope I'm not, libeling or slandering myself here. So this is a risky episode, clearly. But I'm pretty sure it was Bill Wyman. I suppose I should Google it, really, shouldn't I? Rolling Stone, 48-year-old Bill Wyman and his 14-year-old girlfriend, Mandy Smith. This was in 1984. Like, it wasn't even in the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, which, that's your sort of Nonsberger golden era, isn't it? If you were a celebrity paedophile and you wanted to have a golden era, I'm not suggesting that it's a good thing, a golden period for the rest of us or for society. I'm not suggesting it's not a period that we should do everything that we can to forget and correct and learn from. I'm just saying, if you were a nonce, that was your time right there. But no, this was still in 1984. Feels mad recent, doesn't it? For that sort of horseplay. 48-year-old Bill Wyman and his 14-year-old girlfriend, Mandy Smith. Like, it all just seems so weird that all of that. So you could go back a little bit further. You could go back to, like, Elvis Presley and Priscilla Presley. I think he met her when she was like 13 or 14. Jerry Lee Lewis, Chuck Berry. I mean, yeah, they're the rock and roll greats. Of course they are. But I'm just saying, for balance, you gotta remember that they were also very successful paedophiles also. They were really good at being paedophiles, those guys. On some platinum tier noncery shit. So they were. You could go back even further. I was reading a thing on Instagram, actually, about, is it Thomas Jefferson was You have to forgive my ignorance when it comes to American history. But I believe from memory, from seeing this Instagram thing, that he was the third American president. Is that right? Somebody can tell me in the comments if I got that wrong, or if the Instagram thing has got it wrong. That's where I get all my journalism-y facts from Instagram now. And then spend the rest of the podcast railing against disinformation and how shit journalism is these days. Anyway, I was seeing this, I was looking at this thing about Thomas Jefferson on Instagram, and it said that although he is celebrated for being something of a sort of a liberal when it came to slavery, like, oh, he didn't, Thomas Jefferson did not buy slaves. He refused to buy slaves. Well, actually, I mean, he was gifted slaves. He was gifted a young black girl who was like 12 or 13, and he did all the stuff that you know that I'm alluding. He did that with her, and the descendants are still there today. It's like a black and white family. So Thomas Jefferson, like fucking presidents, used to do this stuff. Some might argue, some might allege that America hasn't changed that much. If the current president is anyway. So what was I talking about? Oh, right. So Black Sabbath, Ozzy Osbourne. Like it's just going back to that period in the 1970s. How wild it is that so many of the rock and roll greats that your parents loved, that your parents still love, and will not hear a bad word said about. They still tap their feet along to blue suede shoes. They still buy a ticket to the end of the pier show of Great Balls of Fire. Of course they do. Even when you say to them, like, you know what he did to his 12-year-old cousin, don't you? And they're like, oh, well, it was a long time ago, you know. It was a different time. I mean, why have you got to talk bad about people ages? We're always so negative. You know, we're just trying to go out and have a nice time at the Great Balls of Fire show at the end of the pier. We're just trying to have a bit of a jive, bit of a rock and roll. Why are you going to spoil it? Just completely overlooking the molestation of a child by your fucking hero, Dad. What are you doing? And then in the next breath, you ask him about, like, the modern world, about refugees, about immigration more broadly. It's like, oh, I don't know, you know, we've got too many foreigners coming in. I don't trust them. It's like, really, Dad? You don't? What's wrong with them? Well, they've just got different cultural values, you know. We've got to protect our women and girls. It's like, protect our women and girls from what? Like, you're fucking dancing to a paedophile down on the end of the pier. You absolute nut job. Oh, man. Anyway, sorry. God, this is the worst eulogy ever, isn't it? For Ozzy Osbourne, who was not a paedophile. You should definitely punctuate anyone who's writing a eulogy about Ozzy Osbourne this evening. It just helps to narrow it down. It's easier to eliminate the people like who were not paedophiles, I think, in the 1970s. Than the ones who were. So just make sure you like caveat his eulogy with lead singer, rock band, Black Sabbath, toured the world, put Birmingham on the map, all of the rest of it, and was not a paedophile. I think that's that's what I want on mine as well. That's, you know, just so we're clear, if anybody ever wonders, you know, if I die, if I pre-record a thing and schedule it ahead of time. You know, just make sure that you tell people, that you clarify he was not a paedophile. I think Ozzy would appreciate that. No? I mean, the wild thing is, just to go back to the Epstein business, I mean, anyone caught up in that scheme, in the honeypot, the blackmail stuff, anybody caught on that camera must really be thinking like, oh, fuck. I wish this had happened in 1976 and then nobody would have given a fuck. Nobody would have cared. If this had happened like 40 or 50 years ago, nobody would have given a shit. Like, even as it was happening with Jerry Lee Lewis, Elvis Presley and Priscilla, even as that was happening, it's like, oh, I don't know if you're allowed to do this, Elvis. Like, even at that time, I reckon Elvis was like, oh, it's a different time. It's a different time right now. Colonel Tom Parker's like, what do you mean it's a different time? Elvis is like, it's a good time. That's what it is. Leave me to it. I mean, it's interesting, the parallels that are there between, like, a Jeffrey Epstein and the rock and roll greats of the 70s. I mean, obviously we've covered the rampant paedophilia, which, I don't know if you've picked up on the signals I was putting out there. It is absolutely bewildering to me that none of the Rolling Stones, none of Led Zeppelin, none of them have ever been, I don't think they've even been questioned about it. Because the girls who ran away with them, who were the sort, I hesitate to use this word because as I understand it, is a little bit problematic these days. But the groupies, it was that whole thing. The girls who ran away with them to be on tour with them and to sleep with them, evidently didn't feel exploited, and still to this day look at it like it was a crazy time. It was the 60s. I was having a laugh. Like they don't. I remember seeing an interview on Good Morning Britain a few years ago with one of them, where she was like, "I wish I could tell you that I was, traumatized and it ruined my life, but it just didn't. I had a good time. I hung out with the rock stars. I had fun, and then I just went back home and I carried on with my life. It didn't do that to me. I'm sorry if that or similar has happened to other people." And it has done something bad to them. But for me personally, it didn't. And so as I suppose like a byproduct of that, the police are like, well, she's obviously not going to testify or press charges. So, I mean, look, what is the reasonable chance of a conviction here? Probably fucking nothing. So, you could kind of understand then why it doesn't pick up speed, right? But it is how fucking weird is that sort of stuff used to go on, and none of them have even been questioned about it. But there's that, the as I say, rampant paedophilia. There's the fact that these rock stars of yesteryear, a lot of them were American. Okay, a few British, obviously, Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath, who, again, not paedophiles, as far as I know. But a lot of them also were American. And also, I think, according to Google Trends, I haven't got the figures for this to hand, but according to Google Trends, Epstein is the most Googled search term and news story in the world right now over the last 10 years. That is how much just frenetic, frenzied interest there is in this, which in a weird way sort of puts him on the same tier as a massive rock star back in the day, doesn't it? I know this is starting to sound a bit problematic and celebratory. Honestly, I promise you that's not where it's coming from. I'm just saying this story is big. I'm just saying. Revelatory stuff, Aid. Yes, thanks very much. Most searched term on Google in the last 5 or 10 years or something. It's the most talked about subject on X, formerly known as Twitter. It's been trending on Threads for literally days. I haven't worked out how to do trends on Blue Sky yet, but it's all over Blue Sky. So X, Facebook, Instagram, fucking Google Trends results, just a fucking bonfire of just frenzy and give us information. There's an information vacuum. You've got to feed it. You've got to feed it. It's what is it like? It's it's like Diana crashed in a tunnel, right? CCTV was off that night as well, by the way. Just throwing that out there. It's imagine, cast your mind back to 1997. Diana dies in a tunnel in a road accident. A lot of people say that was intelligence services, but let's not even go down that road, okay? Let's just stay on topic for once, Aid. Diana dies in a car crash, and the next day, let's just say there's no information. And then the royal family, just nothing to see here. It's a private matter. We don't, we're not going to talk about it. It's you're not going to get away. In fact, that is almost what they did. Do you remember that? Viewers, people, listeners, do you remember the sort of week or two afterwards? They were we're not even going to interrupt our holiday. We're not coming back from Balmoral. We're going to protect the boys, in private. And the tabloids obviously were what the fuck is this? Like, has the Queen got this dynamic mixed up somehow? Like, she works for us. Probably her closest aides were like, no, just ignore the papers. You just put your feet. You've earned a little holiday, Lizzie. And she's like, I have. I put my heart and soul into this country. It's all about duty for me. And I have earned a little holiday. I don't check all the way up to Balmoral for nothing. I'm always visiting a charity or cutting a bloody ribbon. It's about time we just say no. Can you just tell the Mail on Sunday and that Nicholas Witchell they can fuck off? And the papers are like, no. You work for traipse all the way back down to London and perform for us. Dance for us, Lizzie. Wheel the boys out. Wheel those broken-hearted princes out and make them walk up and down the Mall sobbing, collecting flowers. Dance for us, boys. Dance. Show us you care. Such was the public appetite, the media appetite for more information. So it's actually not that different, is it? Here I am saying like, oh, imagine if this was like that back then. It kind of was. So what was I saying? Right. Okay. So Google Trends, X, Blue Sky, Threads, YouTube. It is all over everywhere. It is the most searched story for the last 10 years. No story is hotter. And yet, Donald Trump is like, are you still talking about that? About that guy, about that creep? Only losers still care about Jeffrey Epstein, that guy. God, you need to get over it. It's like, okay, Donnie, sure. Biggest story for the last decade. And you're like, are you still talking about... Let's see how that pans out. Right. Anyway, onto this weird news story for this evening. I think you're going to like it. Okay. This is from a slightly curiously named website, local12.com. Is it reputable? Is it somewhere to whom we should go for accurate, reliable information in a time of disinformation and unreliable, biased reporting? I don't know. But I'm still going to tell you the story because it made me laugh and also I don't care. Here we go. Here's the headline. Firefighter floods high school baseball field after home run hits his personal vehicle.
Players with the D-bolts say some time went by after the ball hit the truck before they saw a fire engine back out of the station on University Boulevard, and a huge stream of water began cascading onto the field they were about to play on.
The pettiness, the total abandon, the willful disregard for professionalism, for the separation of your job and your personal feelings. I'm so here for it. Firefighter floods high school baseball field after home run hits his personal vehicle. Let's investigate, guys. Let's find out more about whoever this bloody winner is. I mean, this is when you found someone who stands up for what they believe in, isn't it? You have to have principles. You got to have some real principles if you're willing to throw away your career, to abuse the facilities of your job that pays your rent or mortgage or keeps your kids fed and under a roof. You're willing to toss all of that onto the bonfire just because what? Because a fucking home run accidentally. We assume it's not on purpose because a home run hit your personal vehicle. There's some deeply held principles. They are. Or you're just fucking rabid and completely out of control. You have no control of your anger. And this is just the latest exhibited instance of you escalating. Lucky this happened. Lucky we caught you for this. Rather than next week when you're not caught and you escalate further. The anger sharks are swimming in your head and you just grab a traffic warden by the collar, force their mouth around the fire hose and make them pop. Because they deigned to give you a parking ticket on your precious fucking personal vehicle. Let's get into it. It says this is in Montgomery County. A firefighter flooded a high school baseball field after a home run ball struck his personal car. Yeah, I think we've established that, Aid. Let's continue. Montgomery County Fire and Rescue Service issued an apology following an incident involving a water discharge near a fire station and a community baseball field, which led to the cancellation of a scheduled game. Actually, if it was an American, he would say scheduled, wouldn't he? Which led to the cancellation of a scheduled game on Thursday evening, July the 17th. I mean, Americans, like, they love their baseball, don't they? They love sports over there. I mean, not that we don't. Obviously, we love football here as well. I'm just saying, like, sports, baseball, college football, college basketball. Like, they go fucking nuts for it. Even on, like, the local games. That is something that we don't have here, that they do have over there. Although, you know, they'll probably try to bring in a shit British version of it soon, won't they? Just like Richard Tice's ambition to frack for the gold beneath our feet here, just like they did in America. And Nigel Farage and the rest of them, Zia Yusuf, Ben Habib, they've all got this big thing about anti-DEI, even though we don't have fucking DEI in the UK. We could do it just like Americans do, but do it here. We should have our UK Doge. God, fucking kill me. But yeah, we don't, as far as I know, we don't have like a, you know, college football, college baseball, a big local sports scene here like they do over in the States. So if you do ruin an evening's baseball game in your local community, I mean, I don't live in, like, you know, small town America. I don't. You've probably figured that out. But I'm going to hedge a bet. Maybe if I've got a listener that lives in, like, you know, one of these small towns over there, I'm going to hedge a bet that if you ruined, you know, the Thursday night game. If you ruined the Thursday night baseball game for your entire community, if the goal that you were seeking to achieve was to stop people vandalizing your car, I don't know. I don't personally know if ruining the whole town's baseball game would help you arrive at that aspiration. I just don't know if it would help with that, you know? What do you mean there's no game tonight? I thought you said you were playing. What's happened to the game? Guy's kid is like, I was gonna pop, but somebody, some jackass flooded the field. Somebody, what? Somebody flooded the field. Now, God damn it, who would do such a thing? Well, Pop, it was the guy from the fire department. And we accidentally hit a home run and it bounced off his car, and then he came back. He flooded the field. He did what? He flooded the field, Pop. We were just playing with the baseball. I hit a home run. I was so happy, and then he flooded the field, and now we can't play anymore, Dad. Son, you get me my keys to my truck, and you bring your baseball bat. Like, I don't think it's going to solve the problem. I think you may actually end up with a more vandalized car, sir. It says, according to WJLA, a baseball team claimed that a firefighter had sprayed down a field at Blair High School in Silver Spring, Maryland. I don't know. On Thursday, after a ball hit during pre-game practice, went over the fence and struck a pickup truck. I was fucking joking earlier about trucks. It is literally like Americana, this. Went over the fence and it struck a pickup truck parked at Silver Spring Fire Station. It says, one of our players heard somebody from the firehouse say, "Hey, watch out. We don't want to get you wet." And he said, "I'm going to shoot the water into the field." And then probably 2 minutes later, all we saw was a massive stream of water basically shooting directly onto center field. Thunderbolts outfielder Aiden Driscoll told reporters with WJLA. It says, when speaking to the outlet, Driscoll said that every game had been rained out for nearly a week, so the team had been excited to play on Thursday, not expecting that game to be cancelled by a man-made rainout. And he says, I don't think I will ever, in my entire baseball career, ever get fire truck rained out again. No, well, probably not. I'm sure there will be some more rainouts, but probably not a fire truck rainout, Driscoll told WJLA. Founder and director of the Thunderbolts, Dick O'Connor, also spoke to the station. He says there's 9 other leagues who play here, and we're not the only ones that hit home runs. Personnel from the fire department have been told consistently by park staff that is a dangerous area to park and leave your vehicle. He told the station, I went to the fire station and talked to the captain, and he admitted that he did it. And he said he wanted to get our attention. It says, we want to express our sincere apologies to the players, teams, Cal Ripken League, and all fans and families impacted by this disruption. The MCFRS said in a statement. I guess, is that like the fire department thing? MCFRS is actively gathering information and coordinating with the Maryland National Capital Park Police to determine the cause of the incident. I mean, I could probably save you a few hours of investigation there, lads, if you're busy. You know, I mean, it sounds like somebody hit a home run, bounced off the truck, pissed the guy off. He was like, you better watch out. Fucking fired the fire hose into the field, ruined the field, and then when the coach walks over the road and then knocks on the thing, then the guy admits that he did it. Like, there you go, case closed. I mean, you don't need to be the Epstein Justice Department Attorney General to crack this case, guys. They said, our top priority remains public safety, and we are committed to maintaining open and transparent communication as we work through the facts. We deeply value our relationship with the community, and we're taking steps to ensure that this matter is thoroughly reviewed and that future disruptions are prevented. And by that, I assume they mean future disruptions like the high school baseball team prank calling the fire department and sending them out to the edge of the county for a fucking an imaginary cat stuck up a tree 7 times in the same week. We're trying to limit future disruptions, so we're just going to apologize. We're really sorry. So there you have it, guys. There you have it. You got a flooded out field because some matey won't listen to parking advice. Like, don't park your truck there. There's a lot of people playing here with baseball. It might get hit. Some guy doesn't listen to that advice, can't control his anger, abuses his position as the captain of the fire service, floods the field, ruins the game for not just the home team in his own community, but also, like they mentioned at the end of it, like another team drove for like hours to come down to play on that game, on that field that night. And here is the thing, like, not everything is about politics, right? Not everything is about politics, but I read stories like this where someone appears to be that sort of selfish and exploitative, mean-spirited and vengeful to the cost of all of those around him. And I can't help but thinking, or like ask myself, I can't help but think, like, I bet he's a fucking Republican. I bet he's a conservative. Like, shall we try? Let's look him up quickly. Let's see if we can get a picture of him, shall we? So at least then, if we can't find out his actual voting history, we can judge a book by its cover, can't we, guys? Which I know you're not supposed to do, but these people, you know, it's MAGA, it's republicanism. They're all about the symbolism, right? So I'm sure they won't have a problem with us judging the book by the cover. Let's have a look for him, shall we? Okay, so this is the MCFRS, Montgomery County Fire and Rescue Service website, and it said it was the captain, right? This is Fire Chief Corey Smedley. Great name. I'm always looking like, do you know when you go on like corporate websites and it says, about us, who we are, all of that shit, and nobody ever cares. Nobody gives a shit, do they? About the who we are page. About us, about our team. But this one occasion, this one time I actually want to find that page for the Montgomery County, Maryland Fire and Rescue Service. The one time I want it, it's not fucking here, is it? All right, let's try this. Let's try Twitter, shall we? Most recent one, July the 21st. So it's an active Twitter account. No? Okay, so we're going to LinkedIn now. We go to people. Who works for the Montgomery County Fire and Rescue Service? Oh, okay. LinkedIn member is the fire department captain. But I think in order to see that profile, to see who it is, I have to fucking sign up for LinkedIn Premium. Well, fuck that. Oh, finally we get to Facebook. This was posted on the 14th of May, so I suppose it could have changed since then. But it says Montgomery Fire and Rescue has recognised Captain Corey Johnson as firefighter of the quarter for the first quarter of 2025. Captain Johnson was nominated for his exemplary bravery and coverage, fighting off the brave high school baseball pupils of Montgomery County. No, it says for his exemplary bravery and coverage displayed while off duty when he rescued a live victim injured in a vehicle accident. Well, okay. It says, during his travels, Captain Johnson encountered a vehicle involved in an accident with flames visible under the hood. He promptly stopped to assist. He sounds like a hero. Sounds like a good guy. But I'm just saying, he doesn't look like a lily-livered liberal, does he? I mean, if I said to you, fire service captain with the American flag tattooed on his arm, and then I described that kind of behavior to you, what would you posit? What would you assume was his political leanings? If he put this picture up on his Tinder, up on his Hinge, what perception would you be left with? What conclusions would you draw? Anyway, guys, I suppose I should probably wrap it up here. I need to go in and check on my kids. I will be back, of course, on Friday night for the Friday night live show, 7:30, and, of course, most mornings for the alternative paper review. If you are not signed up for the Patreon yet, do consider it. It starts at only £1 a month, but, of course, then it goes up to the £3 tier, the £5 tier, the £10 tier, and the benefits for those are staggering upwards or whatever. Do you guys know the benefits already? I feel like you do. You get episodes of the podcast 2 days before everybody else. Then you can get access to the Discord. I do meet and greets. We do meetups in East London. You can get ticketing priority for the times that we do live shows. We did a couple of live shows in London. Actually, I think I've done 3 live shows now in London. There was the Glastonbury thing. I did a meet and greet with a couple of the Patreons there. If you join the £10 tier, I throw in like Skype 1-to-1 calls. So if you want to put the world to rights over its many wrongs with me personally over Skype or Teams or, whatever, over a beer, I'm very happy to do that. Or for £1,000, I will just shut the fuck up. I'll just stop talking for a bit. So that's an option there for you. If you've got to the end of this episode and you're like, Jesus fucking Christ, I wish this guy would shut the fuck up. That is there for you. It's an option. But right now, I must go. Take care of yourselves. Keep it booge. Keep it binfluencer. And we are out this mother fudger. Cha!